Okay, so just quick FYI, I attempted to, did upload this video as a sped up version of It Felt Like a Kiss, although due to some of the more violent content in the documentary itself, YouTube removed the video, and so I'm re-uploading it with just an image of the film's poster. Sorry for any inconvenience.
It felt like a kiss. There is a consideration I had viewing all of these Adam Curtis documentaries again and so close to one another. I wondered, could any piece of footage, any historical or contemporary media, be designated as profound or a window into the psyche of the society? If I really wanted to, could I present interviews of Nirvana in the early 1990s, some of those grunge gigs in Seattle, and contrast with idyllic 50s suburbs and announce the end of civilization? I could, but it is in the early 90s. That time seems a lot more stable compared to now. Insidious snuff films, uncontrollable cyberbullying, infinitesimal examples of degrading, veil piercing, revenge, pornographic nihilism, and the most frighteningly schizophrenic, there is no more sensitive and apt term, conspiracy narcissism ever considered. These guys make the John Birch Society seem like dignified Oxford alumni. Even the internet in Adam Curtis's 2009 makes the internet even of 2024 seem like a portal into the end of humanity as we knew it. The point I'm making is, by Adam Curtis logic, or perceived grasp of his logic, we could collate examples of 21st century amateur smartphone videos to distill the true way of the world. How could malignant entities use this to shape their own view of the world toward that of the wider public's? To what degree is Curtis motivated by a subconscious pathology in society versus a sixth sensing nose for the idiosyncratically profound? Would Curtis deem one recording of a young woman expressing her dreams and desires in a YouTube vlog to be profound, and another recording of this woman's peer expressing a skepticism towards certain societal narratives to be less interesting, or would he suture both as an example of magnified profundity, a revelatory glimpse into the minds of the fluctuating zeitgeist? At what point is a piece of 20th century culture, say, a profound relic of an old psychology, as opposed to a throwaway piece of consumer entertainment? Surely it can be both, but I'm curious as to whether anything truly intellectual, cogent, or consistent is distinguishing the footage Curtis includes versus that which he does not. Footage of his historical subjects, footage relevant to his scripts, his journalistic thesis, is entirely understandable and completely justified. But sometimes his priorities of visual media appear to be as vaguely superfluous as his music choices. Would playing Cluster or Jean-Michel Jarre instead of Brian Eno make a major difference? Perhaps not, though playing Velvet Underground after mentioning Lou Reed did so in this particular film. See my point, maybe. What warrants a piece of footage being discarded in an Adam Curtis documentary? That's essentially what I'm asking. I see any piece of video recording on social media or anywhere on the internet. What is Adam Curtis thinking? Is he thinking that in the particular you will always find the universal, as James Joyce famously suggested? I quote, I pillaged in my debut feature film at the age of 19, 9 years ago now, to dubious effect, admittedly. Or does Curtis feel as though sometimes it can seem too grossly paranoid to assume profundity in everything? An unethical entity could employ historical archive footage and decide that a friendly greeting between two men displays the significant unraveling of a certain political enforcement, or that interactions between certain groups in society are indicative of inescapable changes which might be self evidently superficial. The point is, there is a way for a malintentioned Joseph Goebbels type to employ the Adam Curtis style to a very dangerous effect. But I find it hard to believe that Curtis does not realize this. And so I find myself suspecting that Curtis's qualifying factor in determining worthwhile archive footage for inclusion is its emotional resonance for him, which, when composing emotional psychological histories of the modern world, seems like the most appropriate, logical, even empirical thing to do within the ethereal parameters of Curtis's journalistic projects. It Felt Like a Kiss is wherein Curtis's documentary editing schema is approaching a highly abstracted, quasi psychedelic post language semi singularity, bereft of them just trying to act as visual sophistry, possibly the most banal of times, if this ever even occurs. For a more cut and dry news expose, as one might otherwise criticise about his output, one of my personal favourites of Curtis's, which is to say, damn, even if I had the historical research and journalistic resources, I don't think I could ever compose something quite like this at all. It felt like a kiss.